Hey y'all, this is Tamika, the face behind HR, and I am just, y'all know I always get excited, but I really get excited when we bring on guests. So I'm going to tell you all about our guests. And listen, y'all have been replying to these emails like crazy. You guys asked about her a couple of weeks ago. So I feel like I'm a little tardy for the party. You guys have been ready to see her for quite some time. So we have Cassie Ademola with us today. And before we dive into letting us get into this conversation, I'll do a little something just to help you guys kind of get a chance to get on. Because I know some folks still working on trying to get those um, notifications set. They don't quite have the notifications. I get it. I know that we also have folks who are just like, hold up, let me get set up. Let me get my drink. Feel you. I got you. So I'm going to do a little bit of chatting before we bring the guests on, just to make sure that you guys are comfortable when we start chatting, because we're talking about a great topic today. Today, we're going to talk about some trends that you see in resumes. We're going to hit on some of those pain points. And the best part about it is that I brought on somebody who stems out of HR. So you remember, if you guys are on my email list, y'all already know, I told y'all, make sure to bring your guests on. Invite whoever your work bestie, even if they're not in HR, because this is your time to get those answers, those questions answered. And so I want to just do a quick moment. Y'all know I don't do reminders. I do girl, you better not forget. So I'm going to do my little girl, you better not forget moment so that you guys don't forget a couple things as we get excited about this conversation. And y'all know I'm a big CANVA fan, so we're going to dive into this. We still do the free resume reviews. Just keep in mind, we don't do those every single time we go live. Sometimes we go live and we do just Q&As. Sometimes we go live with a guest, and other times we go live with free resume reviews. So if you really want to get that resume review, listen, y'all, this thing is ending at 2022. Like 2023 is a new year. It's not going to be free anymore. So you definitely want to get on the email list so that you can get in there for that. And don't forget, we just dropped the resume template guide, which is a full 3-part kit that you get not only with the guide that tells you how to do the template. So you get the guide, the template, which includes a cover letter as well as your resume template, but you also get a job search tracker. So you want to set those metrics, learn those metrics, and use those metrics to kind of create your specialized strategy through your job search. And that should help you get through it a little bit faster. And then once you get that job, you don't want the nervousness of getting on that job and they hook you up with somebody who's been working there for 10, 15, 20 years and says, well, I don't know how you really do it, but this is how I do it. Now you get scared because you don't know if this is the right way to do it. Or you get that person that says, I don't know, because ain't nobody ever trained me. So this training manual kind of takes the nerves off of that. Like, it helps you feel confident going into this role. It helps you speak to this position, and it gives you a resource to lean on, not just to start your career, but to continue your career, grow your career, and just do well in your career. So just remember, I already told you guys that you get the job search tracker as well. I just wanted to highlight to you guys that that is an Excel download. And so for all of you who already bought any of the digital products for this launch, the resume kits or the training manual, make sure to keep an eye out on your emails, because I'm going to send you guys a Zoom date. I want you to save it. And right before we go live, an hour before we go live, or not go live, but an hour before we start, I'm going to send that Zoom link to you. So make sure you go through these products, get comfortable with them, because that's going to be your one-on-one time to ask me any questions that you want. Cool. And so now I introduce to you guys the amazing Cassie Ademola. I'm hoping I'm saying that all the way right. She's going to correct me, y'all, because she's my sister friend. So she's going to get me right if I'm saying that all the way wrong. But I absolutely love Cassie, y'all. I don't know if Hey HR would have been more than a YouTube channel if it wasn't for this amazing lady, because she definitely made me start thinking out of the box. I saw her moving around. I saw her making some changes. I saw her really not just setting trends, but also making a new paveway for those like myself. You know, folks always want to see the fun content. They always want to see what's the new hair, what's the new clothes. So we're challenged against that type of content where we're not trying to tell you about what's trendy. We're trying to help y'all get this money in your bag so that you're not internet rich, but you home rich too, because you're making this money. And so we're in a rough little area when we're making our content, but Lord, she makes it so fun. If any of y'all are following me on IG, y'all see I share her stuff all the time, because I'm always like, girl, you got it. And she knows she has it. Sometimes I forget to tag her in it. But I want to tell you guys that Cassie is the founder of My Professional Agenda. And she calls herself the career brand polisher, which y'all, she will polish the hell out of that career, and give you a whole new brand. So she's also a certified resume writer, And throughout her career, she's worked at Amazon, Levy Restaurant, Central Amusement International, Ovando, and Brink Security. She has held the titles of not only HR administrator, HR manager, senior HR manager, director of HR, but also HR leader / HR business partner. So y'all, I'm gonna share the screen, get this off so you guys can see this a beautiful lady that we have here today. She is so excited. She's already dancing, y'all. She's already dancing. So Cassie, I want you to definitely tell the folks hello.
Hey, first of all, I think that was one of the best intros that I've ever had. Like I was dancing off screen, like, okay, that is some deep diving. That was some real deep diving. So, hey, everybody, I'm so excited to be on this platform. I'm subscribed. I'm sure everybody here is subscribed, but if you aren't, please do. But I'm subscribed and I just love your platform so much. You're so consistent. Myself and my homegirl Tinu talk about you all the time. Like that girl knows what she's talking about. She actually knows what she's talking about. So thanks again for having me. And I'm so excited to have this conversation with you.
I'm so excited to have this conversation. You know what? We need to start with that. I think that that's the biggest things that folks do not realize is that people will have a title and not know HR. Like we get so excited. I get a little messy on HR, but that's the truth. I want to prepare folks because what you don't want to do is chase after that title and not know the job, because it's not the job. It's not your director. It's not your colleagues that's going to, highlight that you don't know the job. It's the employees. So I'm so happy you said that. I appreciate that. That means a lot to me because I truly value myself on learning HR and knowing it to the best of my ability. Listen, we can't even dive into this thing. They're going crazy in this chat already, and I love it, love it, love it. So hello, Yvette. Hello, Vimal. Y'all, we just know Vimal was going to be in the house. We know Trisha with the Y is going to be here. Trish, I can't wait to tell you about my drink. It's inspired by you. I know I didn't get the right combination, so I'm going to tell you about it. Hello, Keisha. Keisha's always here. Education is key. I haven't seen you in a while. Hey, Erin. What's going on? Designer me at Tara. Y'all, Tara trusted me so early on in this client journey. She's an HR director herself. She manages an organization that's in several different states throughout the United States. So I'm so happy to see you guys in here.
Wonderful.
Are you drinking with us today?
Oh yeah. So I do have my drink here. It's a pumpkin spice latte. I had to wait to put the whipped cream on.
Oh, you always so fancy with these drinks.
This is my favorite part. I wish I had my cinnamon here so I could sprinkle it. Sometimes at night I put a little Bailey's in here in the and sip it really slow, decaf, because I'll be up on. But
yeah. Girl, yeah. You always I love when you do those and IG reels. And I love the way that you make learning how to perfect and improve your resume so easy. I just love the way that you go through it. I mean, honestly, sometimes I wonder if I'm just geeking out on this stuff or if I'm like, no, this is really unique. So that's one reason I share it with people. And so it's so nice when they either comment back or I'll look later at your profile for whatever reason and be like, oh, now so-and-so is following her too. So tell me what inspires your different tactics to what your content is on not only Instagram and LinkedIn, but Facebook as well, with teaching folks about resumes?
Well, I think people have a different way of learning, and I think they have to see things a different way to actually get it. And even myself, for a very long time, I always was distinctive about how I did everything. I remember one of my first jobs at Brinks. When I used to start off in billing, I had to send all these receipts to the corporate office in a manila envelope. And instead of me just putting billing on it, I would put billing with flowers and a smiley face, just so that whoever gets the envelope, it might do something for their day. And it wasn't just a bland manila folder or envelope. So I know sometimes people have to see things 5 different ways, 5 different times. Even when I read the Bible, I could read the same scripture 10 times and then 15 times, or maybe I have to hear TD Jakes say it before it actually penetrates. So what inspires me is I really want people to change their resumes, like the way it looks, because I know they're dynamic and a lot more than what the resume is not saying. So if I can find any innovative and creative way for it to actually sink in, then I'm down for the cause, you know?
Well, you do a good job of that. You do a good job of that. And I think that people get so confused about the simple things. Like, I like the way that you use catchy names to help us remember. What's Miss Billionaire's name? What's her name?
So yeah, my first resume template was Sienna Billions. That's when Rihanna first became a billionaire sometime last year. So
okay,
I use all celebrities, like, you know, African-American celebrities, and put C in front of their name because my name is Cassie. So it was the Sienna Billions template and then the Beyonce Trillions template.
Oh, nice.
Scylla Perry since.
Yes, I saw. That one tripped me out. I was like, where is she finding these names? Okay, now I get to see. Okay. I don't know how I missed that. Some of the topics that you tend to hit on a regular basis is like powerful words and ways to kind of show those words at the start of those bullet points to make it give that feel that you're really comfortable in your space. Do you notice that just from your clients, you constantly get folks that put these words like assisted or partnered with or whatever? Like, what are some of your go-to?
It's over and over again. And it's not anybody's fault because, you know, it's a resume. No one is thinking that deep about it. Of course, they know they have to use this document to get a job, but, you know, they just do their best to put the bullet points so they can attract the ATS and the hiring manager looking at it. But for me, I love putting like outstanding bullet points. And it's not just about putting the right action verb to kick off the bullet point. It's about making sure that action verb can help you dive deeper into what you actually did. So it doesn't look like a laundry list of stuff. So for example, I usually get resumes that have managed like 100 times, or they have assisted, or they have responsible for. But you want to be different. Like, you want the recruiter to see it like, I've never seen eradicated on a resume before. Like, I'm pretty sure if you put the word eradicated, I mean, the recruiter probably hasn't seen that all day. So you want to try to find things to keep the recruiter on the page as long as possible. And I like to use standout action verbs. So instead of, you know, found an error, I put uncover. Like, I start a bullet point with uncover, or I start a bullet point with eradicated. So when you start a bullet point with a word like uncover, now you get to think about like, okay, what did I uncover? What went wrong that I had to fix, and what was the outcome of it? So you start the bullet point with uncover, or you start it off with slashed. Like, what did I slash? Like, what did I decrease? Or what money did I save the company that I was able to slash $30,000 in cost savings? So I have like in some of the kits that I sell, I have a word bank of action verbs. It has like 110 of them, where you can literally look at it and decide what accomplishment you want to put on your resume, and have it stand out instead of just using like responsible for, because we're responsible for everything. That's why we got hired. We're responsible for it all. But you want it to be distinctive. So I love a good action verb. I really
do. What do you think about? I know you love a good action verb, and I love because yours are very unique. I'm not as creative, but yours is super duper creative. Like, I really like eradicated and like uncovered. Yeah, it makes you as a person think deeper. You know, it's not just making the recruiter think deeper. And as a recruiter, previously and throughout my career, when you look at 100, 200 applications, and I say a day, but it's more than that. Like, those little things stand out because everybody's using the same thing. So standing out is like so important. So I'm so happy that you always highlight that, because that's just the start of it. And I like the way you went into, because my next question was going to be, how do you help them show their skills? But you're right. When you start it that way, it automatically makes you think a little bit further into it. Yeah. What do you think about those? I know it's not something that everybody uses, but I want to know, what do you think about like those paragraphs at the top, the objectives, summaries, what have you? What's your input on those?
Well, it depends. So that's the professional summary. I think people are still putting objective. I'm not seeing objective as much as I used to way back in the day. Like, I'm seeing objective as much.
It's a hit or miss. I mainly see objective from my folks who are pivoting from like Like they're literally just starting their HR career. Maybe they're just fresh out of college. Maybe they've worked in retail for quite some time, or they worked in healthcare. It's those folks, or they've been working at some place for a long time. Like they just hadn't job searching a long time. So that's kind of where I see it. With folks that's been in the game for a little bit, applying a lot, interviewing a lot. I don't see it as often. But I do see that people struggle with just what that looks like. Like,
so like for me, of course we know like objective is out the door. Like we shouldn't be putting like the word objective shouldn't be on anybody's resume at any point in 2022, right? Because now we're building a professional summary or career synopsis or just a paragraph that shows how you want to be perceived by employers. So with an objective, you're more so saying, I'm seeking this, I'm looking for this, but at this point in time in life, you want to be perceived in a certain way and show off your value that of course speaks to the job description. So there's different formulas that you can use to create this paragraph. It can be a simple 3 to 4 sentence paragraph that starts off with another influential action verb. So even the way you start off that paragraph, I know sometimes I see results driven, it's cool, but you want to stand out a little bit. Like one of my clients, she took one of the personality tests that a lot of people take to figure out their strengths. So she realized she was an activator of new ideas. So we started off a professional summary with that. Activator of new ideas.
Oh, nice.
Marketing director. So using spicy words in there, plus also showing your value, where you add maybe 4 or 5 core competencies that the job description is asking for. Talk about how you collaborate with other teams, especially if you work with like senior leaders or the C-suite, or you work with stakeholders, making sure that's all in that paragraph. You can even add like a metric. So if you work with like millions of dollars, you know what I'm saying? You can add that number inside that paragraph. So some people say you don't need it anymore, but for a lot of the executives I work with or senior leaders, or even people who are transitioning from one role to the next, it's a good paragraph to have. It's a good paragraph to have to show how you want to be perceived.
Yeah, I'm happy you said it, because people ask me like, Tamika, should I put a paragraph or not? Or should I put that? It totally depends on where you are in your career, what story you're trying to tell. My thing is to tell my audience, my community, that your resume is telling a story for you, right? So like so many times we think we just apply, that's enough, But what you really want to do is narrate a good story, and you want to start it, in my opinion, with a great headline, and then just keep the story hot, So I'm like, you can't just keep it a page turner. If it look like everybody else, but I'm gonna keep turning the page like to the next resume.
I say the same thing. Like, can you when you find a good Netflix film, you haven't heard of it before, but it has like maybe 10 episodes, and you give it the first episode, and you're like, it's all right. And maybe you go to the second one, maybe you go to the third one. Like it all has to be hot. Like it has to be king content from beginning to end. And not repetitive content. Can you imagine watching episode 3 and it looks just like episode 4? And it's like, but you just told me that in episode 3. So yes.
Cassie, I ain't gotta imagine. I've seen resumes where I'm just like, forget it. I ain't even sourcing right now. I'm gonna take a break, or I'm gonna go to this next rec. Like, I need a break. This is the 5th resume I've seen that looks this way.
No, I think some people don't understand like the importance of this document. Like, I think people don't understand, like, this document has to speak for you when you're not in the room, and it keeps working. Even after you apply for the job, the resume is still working. Even all the way to you're in the interview, the resume is still working. So this has to be top notch. Like, you can't play around with this, especially if you're in an open relationship. If you're in an open relationship with your job, you have to have this ready and on deck. You know what I'm saying? If you have a career, even if you don't have a career, you need a resume. So one of my clients, she don't have a job because she's an entrepreneur. And she was this African-American woman who owns like a dog shop. And then she got an opportunity to put her show on one of these networks, but she didn't have a resume. Wow. They asked her for one, and she wanted one to show her progressive entrepreneur story on paper, like in a good 2-page.
Wow.
So, I mean, this document is serious. It's a serious one.
Wow, I never even thought about that. But when you say it continues to speak for you, I know um I've had people where I grow my network and then they're like, Tamika, we know about this opportunity. I'm gonna tell so and so about you. And when I look, they giving a resume that I gave to them like 2-3 years ago. And I'm like, oh no, that's outdated. So like, it's still obviously multiple times it was still heavy enough, that resume from 2-3 years ago was so heavy enough that this person was like, yeah, I want to meet her. So you gotta make it that way because you don't know how long it's gonna be out there. Like if you building, in the case of building your network, you know what I'm saying? And you just hand it out to somebody say, well, hey, listen, give me a resume, let me see what I can do.
Yes.
Honey, you don't know where that thing gonna travel. So especially with the internet now.
Right. You don't know. And opportunities are coming left and right. Like I was a little ashamed of this, but I was well into my current position. But my homeboy got like this CFO position for a brand new startup company that aligned with my background in industry. And he's like, let me get your resume real quick. And I was like, I don't got it. Because I'm so busy doing everybody else's resume, but I didn't have mine prepared. And it looked like,
are you serious?
Can you believe that? And it looked like such a good opportunity. I knew I could like outperform the things on the job description. And girl, it just, I mean, I could have done it real quick, but it's just like, I've been telling people to be ready and be steady, but
But you ain't ready and steady.
I wasn't ready and steady. I was not ready. I was not ready and steady. So,
but it happens that way sometimes. Yeah, man, it happens that way sometimes. I don't think people realize how much work goes on the back end of what we do. So, like for you, it's not just resume writing. Like back in the day, people just kind of like, depend on the word of mouth. But now with the internet, you're doing multiple things. I will say, like, I sat there in amazement because I think yesterday, our on with Mel, that was like our third Zoom together this week, wasn't it? I'm like, Cassie's on here too.
No, I think yesterday we met about 3 times yesterday. For the first one with we had our own session, like when I was at the gym. Then we met for Lucretia's thing. Then we met for when I went on Mel's thing, I'm like, let me see if Tamika on here. Like I scrolled down and I'm like, there she go.
Like I'm not blocking off my calendar because I'm taking a break watching a Netflix series. Like I'm still working to try to make this thing happen for you guys. So like, yeah, that was just crazy. I was like, Cassie in here too.
I'm in there. I was looking a hot mess. I could not come on camera, but it was good. And that's what I like. That's what I love about you, because you are always trying to find great information from the greatest people. Like, Mel is the award-winning resume writer, Lucretia, she's a LinkedIn scientist. So us always find to help people. Like we want to help as many people as possible, because we know what it's like to be on the other side in human resources. Like we know all the ins and out, how to help people progress in their career. We know exactly what these leaders are thinking. So we want to help you position yourself for greatness so you can get into, the position that you deserve. So.
And I think that's the blessing of it all. Like people run for a resume writer, and I'm not a big fan of just getting a resume writer. I personally feel like you need someone that specializes or has extra knowledge in what you do. And so I think that's what makes it unique for both you and I. Like we worked in HR, so we know what that looks like. We've eaten and breathe that on a regular basis. And so many times I think people just go for a resume writer. And I have even gotten resumes to review or had clients, and we'll sit down with their resume and I look at it and I'm like, a resume writer wrote this. Yeah, you did a great job of it, but you just like tell a whole story. I want somebody to hone in on what I'm aiming for. If that's, working at HR, if that's graphic design, if that's being a social media, if that's being an engineer, if that's being a teacher, like I want you to hone in on that, because that's what they're looking for. They're not looking for everything I've done under the sun. They really like your little comment about the spicy human resources professional and keeping it hot. And of course, I love open relationships. This is the open relationship. Y'all got to remember, these jobs treat you like an open relationship for real.
They do, child.
I think we get so caught up. And that was something, and I'll probably do a video about it, but that was something that was on my mind earlier today in the car. And I was just like, I have to figure out a way to make sure that my community knows, like, so many times they say, Tamika, I applied for this job and I had this interview and I'm waiting. Like, I feel you, friend, but you should be applying for multiple jobs. And I'm not a big fan of applying for 100 a day. I feel like it depends on you, what you're doing, what you're targeting, what your experience is, on how often you need, and what industry you're going into. It's a multiple things that I feel should make you determine how often you should apply, or how much strategy you may need to use. You know, somebody else may use way more strategy in their job search than somebody else. But through it all, I think that people need to focus on the fact that these companies are interviewing multiple people.
People.
So you need to be applying to more than one job. This is an open relationship.
Yes, it definitely is.
She is, Crystal. She is so genuine. This is why she's been my girl for a long time. I don't remember which video I first talked about Cassie. This one we were doing the mastermind meetings, and I talked about Cassie like forever ago. I think it might have been about a year ago now, y'all.
Wow.
But she's always been the same, always been genuine. When I see her go live, I know that is not her thing. So I'm like, oh, I gotta tune in. I'm like in the post office one Saturday, she's live with somebody. And I'm like, oh, I gotta tune in. Cassie's live. Like, she never goes live, but she makes amazing content.
Scared to go live. I don't know. I'd be so scared. But I'm getting over it. I'm gonna go live a lot more. I'm getting over it. Because I used to do Clubhouse a lot. Like me and my homegirl when it was first hot. But you didn't have to see me. So I was on there just so genuine myself and all that. But now when it's like camera, it's like, oh my God. But I'm gonna get over it. I'm gonna get over it.
You know, Cassie, I think the last time we talked a while, not the last time, a while ago, you told me you were gonna start going live more often.
And how many times you saw me go live since then?
Once. Oh my goodness. She is fabulous, Bamal. Yeah, she is so genuine. And what I really like about it is that she is people may get sticker shock if they see certain resume writers and they'll be like, I don't want to pay all of that money. What you got to do is verify that person. I wouldn't bring Cassie on here if I didn't verify that she is legit. And in my opinion, like real talk, you can not only just depend on me, you don't have to depend on just the testimonials on her website. I'm telling y'all ways to get through and understand these folks now. Because I've gotten to some resume writers, website, and they'll talk about testimonials. And I know it's a stock image because it's a stock image I've used. And I'm like, this ain't even a real person. Like, you got a stock image. She got real pictures of her people. She doesn't just do resumes. She doesn't just do cover letters. She also revamped your LinkedIn, which is so powerful. If you guys have been around HR for a while, y'all hear me talk about LinkedIn all the time. It's a very, very powerful tool. So she will revive that whole LinkedIn profile for you too. Mm-hmm. And personally, I feel like the return you get on this investment that you will make with Cassie is way above what you're gonna pay her. Don't get caught up with the sticker shock. I know some of you guys I've had some clients who will say, I'll say, this a resume writer? Yes, because I paid them a whole $300. Would that been your first cue? That ain't been your resume writer. I've done them for a couple $100. I know I didn't have any systems in place. I knew I wasn't good in every industry, but people kept asking me. I wanted to provide that as an option. That's the only reason I was doing it for a period of time at $200, because I knew there was so many. I was going to get that resume where I was like, I ain't ever seen this before. And I didn't feel confident in it. But those people who have done several resumes, Cassie has a team of folks that kind of help her navigate the systems, because she gets influx on a regular basis, which is great. Another sign that she's doing the right thing. But she has different packages that you can choose from. She's linked to her clients on LinkedIn. The same ones you'll see on her website, she's linked to them. So they're real people. You can look at their profile, see the growth they've had in their career. You got to do research on these resume writers before y'all just grab one. Yes. So I am a big fan of telling you to don't just go with a resume writer just because they're a resume writer.
Don't go on Fiverr now.
Oh,
go on Fiverr. I mean, Upworks maybe, but that's still a little bit of a side eye. You want to work with somebody who can sit down and have a conversation with you and ask you those thought-provoking questions and pull out the things you didn't even know existed. Like, one of the number one things I really see people leave off their resume is, if they're not in that senior position and their boss did a project and they contributed to the project of their boss put together, they don't add that to their resume. So just because you didn't spearhead it or just because you didn't lead it, they would leave it off their resume. So I had this client, she was like, yeah, I'm gonna help my boss with this 15 $1 million project and I helped do this for the project. I spent this much time on the project. And I'm like, girl, I'm looking on your resume and I don't see it. I said, well,
that's my line too. Where is it?
And she was like, well, because, it's her idea. And I'm like, but if they utilize like your skills, if they utilize your thought process, if they utilize your time that week, you can add that to your resume and just say you partnered with senior leaders to do this, or you were instrumental in developing this.
Yes. Yes.
And those are the things that can be good for the next level. So if you're someone, sometimes people don't have the opportunity to get promoted in their current position, putting that information in there prepares you for that next level and for you to apply for that promotional role if the company ain't trying to give it to you. Or if it's not, it's not there, So that's one of the main things I see people leave off their resumes, their partnership for these huge projects. And the person on Fiverr is not going to tell you that. Like the person on Fiverr is not going to ask you that. So it is important, even if you don't like go with myself or, any of what Tamika has, you can still like do your deep dive, do your research. If the person is certified, great. If they're not, that's fine. But you can always look on LinkedIn, look at their recommendations, ask them questions. Like if they have those consultation questions or timeframes, ask the right questions so you're going with the right person. But yeah, just do your due diligence, just like you would if you're applying to a new job and you get the interview and things feel suspect. You want to do the research to make sure you're in the right spot.
I like that you highlight the conversations that you have, because I keep forgetting about those. Like I think in the space where I'm in, that's almost like a guarantee, but I didn't even think about the fact that some resume writers probably don't even do that consultation. So how do you get that out of you? A simple form wouldn't get that out of you if you didn't realize it was something that you needed to share.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's I know that's right. Education is, as Keith said, baby, you were a whole senior project coordinator. I love it. Yes. Seriously. See, she got a good example of how to do it. And y'all feel bad for doing it. Like, don't feel bad at all, because I think the biggest thing out here is that people will say, well, I don't want to lie. Well, I didn't do it by myself. Well, I'm not really good at it. Let me tell you, some folks who, particularly them folks, I'm going to just be transparent. Lord, I hope this don't bite me in the ass. Because I noticed it amongst other cultures, but here in the US, I noticed that folks who are not of color, honey, they're going to tell you that they done went and raised $73,000 in the last 2 weeks for the company. Literally, that's a line that I saw on a resume, and they offered this job to this person.
Wow.
They're going to tell you, yes, like they tell you the craziest things. And I'm like, and in my mind, I'm like, I literally asked her, I said, how did you, and for a nonprofit, I said, how were you able to raise $73,000 in 2 weeks? And when she started explaining it to me, I was like, honey, that's not what you did. Like the the initiative lasted for 2 weeks, but it was her and her whole team who would work for like 6 months on this thing. And she had one part of the project, but she helped and got the job, honey. So y'all don't feel bad. You're not, all you have to do is explain it in an interview. I feel like when you explain it, you clear yourself.
Yes, definitely. I don't know if you noticed, did you notice I got purple nail polish to match your brand colors?
I did not notice. I love it. Y'all, and let me stop confusing the people. Y'all, Cassie is in Seattle, Washington. So that's why it's literally daylight for her. Girl, that's why I didn't see it. I thought it was from the light. Like, oh, thank you. You're the sweetest.
Because I have, my nails was looking, everything was trash yesterday. everything. I was like, let me go do my nails before I come on YouTube. And I was like trying to pick a color. I was like, oh, let me pick a color that aligns with Hey HR.
Oh, Hey HR didn't even have on her colors. I went natural today. I don't know what maybe, because I've been doing a lot of that and like testing out pinks and stuff, but I keep it basic. So I would totally do something like that. I think I did that for like either my first or second photo shoot, but maybe that second photo shoot I did it. Thank you so much. See, I told y'all she my girl. This is my sister friend. This is my sister friend. And just best believe, I'm not telling y'all, I'm not bringing her on here just because she's a girlfriend of mine. Like, she's not even really a girlfriend. We've never met. Like, we just literally have just been doing Zoom calls, like doing voice notes in IG,
Mhm.
literally just exchanged numbers like last couple weeks ago or so, like just in the space grinding together. And
For sure.
I match with your spirit so much. Now, where is your home? Where's your parents from? Because I just love when you like do all this traditional stuff. I like end up watching your stories multiple times. Like, was your mother's birthday party or somebody got married? I was like, man, they serious. Where is she? So where y'all from again?
So I'm first generation American. So my parents are from Nigeria. So they're from
Oh,
Ondo State. So they're from Nigeria, but I was raised in New York most of my life. And yeah, so sometimes, we go back to Nigeria. I should be going there soon. And then we have, Nigerians, when it's a wedding, it's like a whole situation. So you
that's the
probably
whole
get
situation.
like a bunch of Nigerian weddings and the traditional outfits and the gele and the head ties and all that. So yeah, my family,
Girl.
I don't speak the language though, and I don't understand it. And it's my mother's fault because she didn't teach it to me. Like when we're 2 or 3, we're
Yeah, really. I'm surprised she didn't.
I know every time we get into like a little battle about this, and she's like, you should be listening to me when I speak. And I'm like, but I'm a child, you know what I'm saying? You're supposed to talk to me. So she thinks I should be
Okay.
listening to their conversation. And I'm like, but that means I'm nosy. I wasn't a nosy kid. It's a whole situation. It's a whole
She
situation.
is.
So, yeah, that's what
She
my
is so adorable.
yep, we're from Nigeria. But I absolutely
Wow.
adore the culture. I adore all the artists, the Nigerian artists, the music, everything. The movies on Netflix.
Yeah. Yeah, I love it. I love it. Is that so the when you went live on IG, was that from the lady that was she also from Nigeria?
I believe so. My mother, she was on that live. She asked me the same thing. She was like, "Was she from Nigeria?" I'm like, "I think so." I didn't.
Oh, I just
But
heard her accent. I was like, oh, I wonder if they're from the same place. I wasn't sure.
yeah, I think she's from Nigeria, but I don't think she's from like the same tribe based off of her name. But I think she's from Nigeria.
Okay, okay. I was like, oh, this is so interesting. Um, Cassie, I know there's so many times that I'll get resumes, and I think that people are excited about it, but I don't finish resumes like you do. So I'll give reviews.
Uh-huh.
Don't be judging me. I don't need you judging me. So I'll either do reviews, or if we get on client calls, I'll go through way more thorough and give resources, but I don't sit down and do them. I already told you that ain't my thing. I feel like I've been doing resumes like all my life, or so long in my life. I'm just kind of over it. I've been doing it even before I started HR. But um, I think the thing that I miss about not doing the full resumes is like, and definitely like not letting them see that transformation and just getting the end result is like the responses that folks give. Because people will say to me on the call, like, oh wow, because I'll show them different ways to use Word, different tools you can use, whatever, to like really fill in that white space and to just put in the most of your story. And so I like when they'll say like, oh man, I didn't think about doing that. Oh man, you're just diving in or whatever. But what are some of the responses you get back when a client may give you a rough draft of their resume or their original and you transform it?
Well, a lot of them are a lot more confident to start interviewing because when they give me their resume, it's missing a lot of accomplishments. Like they literally
Mhm.
just took their job description, cut and pasted, and put it in a resume and added a few. Or they looked at a few job descriptions online that they wanted to apply to, cut and paste that and put it on. But a lot of the times their resume wasn't speaking to their unique impact that they made to the company. So once I start like diving deep and asking those questions and getting like the metrics, like the percentages and the dollar amounts and different numbers, and I actually put it together in a story form on their resume, they become a lot more convicted by what they did and
Wow.
actually apply to jobs that they didn't think they can get before because they're like, oh, I did a lot of stuff. I didn't realize like what this person said, this person was a whole project coordinator and didn't know it. Yeah, so these are the things that they get enlightened to about their abilities and what they've done. So they just get so excited to step back in the job market with confidence. And then they use that information to interview. So, like when
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
it's about you sharing the results of your work. So now they have this standout resume that has all of their results in each of their positions in a progressive way. So they get excited. Like, they're like, thank you so much. I didn't know that I did all of this stuff. And at the same time, they get feedback from recruiters as well. I had one of my childhood friends, I did her brother's resume. He was I think a sales associate. He did something in sales. And he gave it to the recruiter, and the recruiter hit him back like, can you please, who did your resume? Do you mind giving me that? So I get, do you mind sharing that contact with me? Who did your resume? So, I mean, that's when I'm like, oh my God, that's so amazing. Like when a recruiter wants the contact.
Yeah.
So it's just, the results are great, especially when, you know, people are starting to align what they do very well on their resume. Because that's what I really want to stand out, is what you do with excellence. And then they start applying to jobs that match with that. And then they end up having that fulfilling career. So when that's the result, that's when it's like superb.
Yeah. And that makes the hard work a little bit easier too. Like, I think that makes it, because the work that goes into, you know, making sure people know what you can do, the transformation you can provide, making sure they know who you are, and then actually like getting that in the systems we use to be able to navigate this whole thing. Because I feel like you have a more sophisticated setup than I do. I'm gonna get there, but the things that we do to make sure that it's like an easy and comfortable customer experience for you at the same time. So when you do all of that work, sometimes you're exhausted by the time you're done. So I know that it just kind of revives you, you know, to some degree.
Yeah.
Oh, let's see. Oh, hey, Muhammad. Muhammad's in the chat. I'm talking about famous people. He got to stop.
2 famous people. I'm done with Muhammad completely.
Oh, Tara, you were in Seattle? Oh my.
Oh yes, I live here alone. I mean, I'm not saying I'm lonely or anything, but
no, you're lonely. Not the way you be finding them events around Seattle. I'm like, how does she know all these people? She just moved there.
Yeah, I like to.
You are like, yeah, I love it.
And you know where I met these people, right?
Huh?
Where I met half of these people in Seattle.
Are you serious?
Straight up on the LinkedIn. When I knew for sure like Seattle was the breathing ground for me, I hit up bad people on LinkedIn.
Oh wow. Yeah, talk about your transition from one place to another, because I know you talk about that often. Like you have a few reels where you tell people like what you can put in your resume when you want to not just transition from one company to another, but like change location. So what was that like for you?
So for me, like this is my second time relocating. Like I mentioned before, I was raised in New York City, but then I left and went to Dallas. And then I left Dallas and went to Seattle. So when I was going from New York to Dallas, you do have to have a standout resume, especially if you're going against like local candidates. You have to make sure this thing is stellar. You know what I'm saying? And you make it stellar when you speak to, you use industry specific terminology, you sharing the impact you made, especially if it's when you want to relocate, you want to try to stick to the same industry, because I went from the amusement park in New York, I used to work at Coney Island Amusement Park, to working with the Dallas Mavericks in the arena. So the employee population was the same. It was food and beverage, it was operations. So it was like, let's get this girl on board. But of course, on the resume, I put like how many employees I supported, how I helped increase engagement scores by 30% when it was really rough. It was a rough year for the amusement park, but I still was able to increase that engagement. And then I put things like I was relocatable, or you can put like relocation date. You put the date that you want to relocate, and hopefully it aligns with when they're looking for someone to come in and start the position. But then I interviewed like a G, you know what I'm saying? Like I practiced so much to make sure I sound amazing and was able to articulate that impact that I had put on my resume. So all of those things played a part into me relocating. And then when the pandemic hit, of course, they let me go, but not because I was a trash worker. I was outstanding. You know what I'm saying? The money,
so silly, girl.
Fans weren't coming to the Dallas Mavericks play anymore, so they couldn't hold that labor cost.
Wow.
So when they let me go, I went into another company where I knew you can transfer within the first day, which is Amazon. Like you can literally go to Amazon and day one, be like, I don't want to live in Dallas. I don't want this job. I want to go somewhere else. So I knew that my research. So from there, I went to Seattle and they helped pay for everything. So it's just more so like when you want to relocate, first of all, go into your LinkedIn profile, you know, switching up the preferences to put the states and cities that you're interested in. On your resume, put in relocatable or your relocation date. And then just making sure your resume is like undeniable against the local candidates. And then finding companies that are willing to relocate, like those large companies like Microsoft and Amazon, those FANG companies that will move you from one place to the next. So yeah, I have a few clients that were able to move from like South Carolina to Atlanta using those same tactics. So it's been a journey. But like I mentioned before, I use LinkedIn a lot. And I use LinkedIn too, because I had to build a tribe. I don't know anybody out here. Like I don't have a cousin. I don't got a in-law. I don't have nobody. So I knew LinkedIn was a place that you can find a tribe. And I saw that on a YouTube video, a TED Talk by this guy named Tai Tran. He was a young kid from Taiwan who also was coming to the United States. And he built his entire tribe on LinkedIn, like finding mentors, finding friends before he came to the US and built this brand on LinkedIn and has a whole family here because of that. So like using these professional platforms to kind of build your personal life as well, which is what I did. So
girl, I'm such a country girl. I'd be so nervous. Just meet up.
Especially after you watched the Jeffrey Dahmer.
Of course, the whole thing. I couldn't stop watching it. I just had to make sure I was watching it during the day because I'd be scared of stuff like that.
Right, and somebody knocked on my door yesterday that I wasn't expecting. I was like, "Who?" Like, like ever since watching like this whole Jeffrey Dahmer thing, I'm a little nervous about everything.
Wow. All the way. All the way. I mean, we do have to remember that that was late 80s, early 90s when it happened. So times have definitely changed. You know, we have more resources, things like that. But I just think that I would, and I know for sure now, Jeffrey would just meeting me out at a bar or somewhere random and be like, I'm taking pictures at my house coming over. And that's too much for me. Listen, find me a studio, where your studio at. But you know, yeah, that makes me a little nervous. And I mean, I grew up in a small town, McClellanville, South Carolina, where we didn't even have a traffic, like a stoplight. We had a caution light. We didn't have a grocery store. Like, yeah, super small.
Wait,
and then
where was
McClellanville? McClellanville. It's in South Carolina, just further, like it's in between Charleston and Myrtle Beach.
Do you still live
to make
there?
things kind of general. No, that's not home. So I go home, you know, on a regular. When I want peace and quiet, or I just want to think through stuff, I go home because I still have family that's there. So I really like that tranquility. I don't have to worry about the trains, the sirens, the neighbors, dogs, whatever, making noise. And so if you just want kind of that peaceful moment, I'll go home. But girl, like that's what I grew up in. So it was easy for me to move to Charleston. I kind of keep thinking about moving somewhere else. So that was one of kind of selfish reason for asking that question.
You want to move to Seattle?
No, ma'am. No.
That's like a lonely friend. You want to move here to Seattle?
I know. Come with me. Oh my goodness. And I guess it gets more and more in my mind because like you don't have kids. I have my daughter. My daughter's 19, and like, girl, sis be like, she want to talk today and tomorrow she'd be like, what do you want? And I'm like, okay, let me just get out your here. But I do worry about things like my mom's getting older, she needs more help. So I don't want to like leave for reasons like that. Like I always want to be near, but who knows where I move to? It'll be interesting. I think that this is a good time. Watch Muhammad showing out. He gonna call me country girl. Thanks, Muhammad. You're so sweet. Oh my goodness.
Are we gonna split the $10?
We're gonna have to split the $10.
I'm joking. First of all, Muhammad, I'm not Igbo, okay? I'm Yoruba. There's a huge difference, bro. There's a huge difference. But anyway.
He's a mess. He's a mess. But I was also wondering, like, what are just your top three things that that you notice are trends amongst your clients? Like, if you could just pick the top three things that you're like, if they get this right, they'll be so much better. What are the things you see repetitive about your clients over and over again?
Well, one thing for sure, if they get right, like one thing if they can get right is if they make their resume targeted, and making it targeted as far as like, putting, titling the resume like a book. Like when you go into Barnes and Nobles and you see a book, you can clearly see what the title is and what the rest of the book might be about. So just giving it a title, and even if the title of the resume doesn't match, like the job description you're going for doesn't match. Like, for example, if you want to be an HR director, but the job description that you're applying to, or the job ad says people of operations, you can title that as your resume. I don't know if do you know like when the first resume was credited, or what year the first resume was credited for?
Girl, I ain't that good at this thing. Go ahead and tell me.
So like the first resume was way back in the day, 1482. I read this in a Forbes article. So 1482 by Leonardo da Vinci, right? So this is credited. This is what the article says. So what Leonardo da Vinci did, as you know, he had like these world famous paintings, but the Duke of Milan was asking for something specific. He wanted something specific from Leonardo da Vinci. So when he put together this resume, he didn't add all these interesting Madonna paintings. He added what the Duke was looking for. So that's one thing that I think is important, is when people target their resume and make it very specific with King content. Like, I see a lot of things that have nothing to do with nothing. Like, I know you've been in this working field for about 20 years. You being a cashier at Lowe's and home improvement is not needed anymore. You need to put information that's going to get you that project management position that you deserve. So just making it targeted with King content is one thing I think people can get right. And that can just be adding the title on top of your resume in huge font. And even if it is you transitioning from, maybe a behavioral therapist to human resources, you can put target role and then put human resources, professional, or human resources assistant or coordinator at, huge at the top of the resume. Another thing that I see, people are missing on their resume is they don't have like a skills section, which is a bunch of keywords of soft and hard skills. That's like completely missing off of their resume.
Yes.
And another thing I see, which I don't understand why, is some people go on Indeed.com and they download that Indeed.
That damn Indeed and LinkedIn resume be working a nerve. LinkedIn a tad bit better because they put the logos, and if all the logos in, it kind of looks like, damn, did they take their time to find it? Yeah.
Nah.
Lord,
it's a no. It's a no. And I'm like, that's what I see that really grinds my gears, is those resume generator templates, because it doesn't give you enough real estate to put all your information on there. It puts all the sections of a resume in the wrong area, and it just doesn't speak to any creativity or any, it doesn't allow you to own your accomplishments. So if there's like two things you can get right on a resume, is buy Tamika's templates, okay? Buy a template that's applicant tracking, ATS friendly. I call it the applicant trifling system sometimes, because it throws, it can end up in a black hole, applicant tracking system, trifling system, but find a good ATS friendly resume template, make it targeted, spice it up. If you're using the same action verbs like assisted, switch it up. Get a word bank of action verbs so you can think through those bullet points a little bit better. Don't be afraid to put awards. Let them know you're a multi-award winning professional. Adding things like a career brand. There's so many, I can say so many hundred.
Yeah, you can go on for days. Yeah.
But the main thing is just keeping the content good, so it's a page turner with concise bullet points, with a professional summary, with the skills section, titling it like a book. There's a bunch of things you can do.
Yeah, I think And you know, I can't even blame the folks about that resume situation. It was really, those things were created to make life easier for recruiters. Like those, I know originally before people could start seeing them, we could download them and just put them into the applicant tracking system versus trying to get an applicant to apply. And now they just realize, what? Oh, I'm gonna make them think they got a resume. Those things horrible, y'all. Don't use them things. She Crystal said you should add comedian to your title. But Ms. Wonderful had a really good question. She said she's seen examples of resumes with the title relevant work experience. What are your thoughts about it?
Relevant work experience as a title for like a section?
I don't think she meant title. I think she meant like in like the professional skills section or your professional history. Like instead of putting professional experience, professional history or whatever, people put relevant work experience. What do you think about that subtitle?
I mean, I like subtitles if it's the main title that's leading into your professional experience. I like, instead of just using like professional summary or relevant work experience, I like to use leadership in action, especially if you're a leader. Instead of just saying professional experience, I say leadership in action, or I put human resources, professional experience. Like I brand that section a little bit. And then sometimes if I do have leaders that have, sometimes they do speaking engagements outside of work, I do have another section after the professional summary experience that does says, you know, relevant professional experience or additional, you know, working experience. So, I mean, putting that is completely fine. Hopefully it is actually relevant. Like it is going to speak.
Yeah, make sure it's relevant.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, definitely make sure it's relevant. I know that these folks need to, first of all, let me back up a little bit. I suck at reels. Like I throw them up there every once in a while, but y'all, I ain't on Cassie level. So I need you to make sure these people not get just all the amazing stuff that you give out just in this 1 hour. I need you to tell folks where they can find you, how they can connect with you, how they can continue to learn from you, how they may partner with you, how they may work with you. Where can they find you?
Well, you can find me in Seattle. No, I'm joking. I got friends. No, you can find me on LinkedIn. If you put in Cassie Ademola, I'm on LinkedIn. And then you can find me on all social media platforms from Pinterest. I just joined Pinterest not too long ago. TikTok, I'm on Instagram, at myprofessionalagenda.com. I feel like I'm missing one. Pinterest, TikTok, and Instagram. And LinkedIn. Okay.
Is your Facebook open to the public? Like I don't connect on Facebook, but I noticed you put a lot of your content there. You don't really open it to the public, just for your people.
I got to figure out what that's like. I don't know what Facebook is like for business so far, but it's there. Like it's there, but there's not really going on like it's going on the Instagram and the TikTok.
Yeah.
So you can,
and the LinkedIn.
Yeah. So you can follow me there. You can go to my website, and on my website, you'll see all of my career destiny packages. So I do, you know, one-on-ones where I work with your cover letter, resume, LinkedIn profile, and brand it, like go through a career branding deep dive session so we can have these outstanding documents. I really do believe I have the spirit of administration. That's why I kind of love doing resumes. So you can do that. And then I also have these templates, these resume and cover letter kits in the professions of marketing, operations. I have it in human resources. I have it in new grad, or if you have zero experience, it's a huge kit that comes with multiple things where you can do the resume on your own, and it's applicant tracking friendly. So if you go to my website, you'll find about 7 different kits. One of them should speak to you. And you can find me on social media trying to put out as much free information as possible.
Yes, yeah. Well, and if you guys are on my email list, and you already got the email where I put in all of her platforms, her website, her LinkedIn. I didn't know about TikTok, my bad. But I put all of your other platforms. So I know you're really big on IG and LinkedIn, and then I put your website. So y'all please connect with Cassie. Let me tell y'all something. If you go to my LinkedIn today, right now, you will see that I posted about her. So you can easily find her that way as well. I put it all in the chat. So it's there for you as well. I want y'all to know that this is probably not going to be the last time you guys see me and Cassie together. So, oh my God, I feel like beyond going live, I feel like we're together all the time. Like every time somebody got to Zoom me on it. I'm constantly learning. So, Cassie, I really, really thank you being out here and just taking this opportunity with me because I know you don't go live very often. I know we've talked about it for a while. And I thank you so much for sharing your experience. But I first definitely want to thank you publicly for keeping me focused back in the day. Y'all don't understand. I was just doing a YouTube channel. And she was like, yeah, but what else are you going to do? What else are you going to do? I was like, good question. She was like, good. You can just write resumes. I was like, I don't want to. She was like, it's easy. You can do it. You can do it. You work in HR. Man, it was so because of you that I was like, okay, Mika, think about it. What can you do? And I feel like it kind of, I think I was so busy running from entrepreneurship. That was the thing. I was just like, man, let me just throw these damn videos out here and be done.
I'm still trying to launch a YouTube channel. Hopefully I could do it by January, but I would love to.
I'm playing with you, Cassie. Whenever you get that channel, you've been telling me this for a year. But you might have time now. I know you get knee deep in those resume writing, and into resume writing period and doing LinkedIn profiles. So I can't talk because I feel like we hit two different angles of the job search arena. And so I know you rolling just like I am. So when you get the YouTube channel going, you tell me not only will I obviously subscribe and hit my bell to get all alerts, but I'm gonna definitely share it with my community too.
Yes, I would love that. I would love that.
All right, y'all. So we're gonna end, and I am so thankful to see y'all in here. I love seeing the purple hearts, y'all. I'm happy every time y'all get in here. But I'm gonna ask y'all for one quick favor because y'all slack on this part sometimes. Okay, so come on now. Get us, if y'all really enjoyed this, do me a favor and hit the like button. Y'all know YouTube likes this stuff. Otherwise, they're gonna stop sending y'all alerts. Sometimes y'all like, I didn't even know you were live. Well, they don't send it if you don't engage with the content. So y'all hit that like button for me. And Cassie, when we go streaming through other platforms like this, we're a little bit delayed behind them. So even when we get off here, you'll see that they're still live even after us. But I appreciate the purple hearts. The purple hearts look amazing. I love that. I always love those. But anyhow, y'all, I'm gonna let Cassie have the rest of her day. I'm gonna let y'all have the rest of y'all's night. See y'all next time. Look out for the calendar. New calendar for the month of November will be coming out this Friday.
Woo! This was awesome.
I know, I enjoyed it.